The fifth introduction is life after death. Death, a stage in evolution. Typically, it's only a phrase that people hear in reference to reincarnation, but Islam does not support reincarnation, and there's several verses that go against that, but we'll see how this goes into that before I say further. Though this subject has been dealt with fully in the footnotes under appropriate verses, I am dealing with it in the introduction for two reasons. In the first place, because there are many misunderstandings about it, and secondly, because it is in the Holy Qur'an that full light is cast on this subject, and no other sacred book makes any approach to the wonderful disclosures made in the Qur'an. As we've seen in some of the other introductions, if you've watched my relating of those, or came across them yourself, or whatever, that there's a lot of criticism for the Christians of how detailed the view of the afterlife is, and so isn't that kind of the spiritual guidance that one might want? According to the Holy Qur'an, death does not bring the life of man to an end. It only opens the door to a higher form of life, just as from dust is evolved the man, from the deeds which he does is evolved the higher man, as from the small life germ grows up the man, and he does not lose his individuality for all the changes which he undergoes. So from this man is made the higher man, his attributes being changed, and he being made to grow into what he cannot conceive at present. Connection between the two lives. The life after death, according to the Holy Qur'an, opens out a wide vista of progress for man, a new world of advancement before which the progress of this life sinks into insignificance, and certainly the hereafter is much superior in respect of degrees and much superior in respect of excellence. 1721. The connection between the two lives, the life on this earth and the life after death, is established in the clearest words. Heaven and hell are not places of enjoyment and torture to be met with only after death. They are realities even here. The hereafter is not a mystery beyond the grave. It begins in this very life. For the good and heavenly life, and for the wicked, a life in hell begins even here. As for him who fears to stand before his Lord, are two gardens. 55:46. O soul that art at rest, return to thy Lord while pleased with him, while pleasing him, to enter among my servants and enter into my paradise. 89:27-30. It is the fire kindled by Allah, which rises above the hearts. 104:6-7. And whoever is blind in this shall also be blind in the hereafter. 17:72. The resurrection are the hour. While the life after death is spoken of as a continuation of this life, a particular day is repeatedly mentioned in the Holy Qur'an under various names as the day on which that life finds complete manifestation. It is generally called Yawm al-Qiyamah, or the day of the great rising, or the resurrection. 213, and is also spoken of as the day of a decision. 77:13. The day of reckoning. 38:26. The day of judgment. 51:12. Or the day of meeting with God. 40:15. The day of the gathering together. 42:7, etc. The most frequently occurring word for the resurrection is al-Sa'a, which originally means any portion of time and is therefore generally regarded as the hour. Raghib, the well-known lexicographer of the Quran, says that there are 3 sa'as, hours. Well, that's not the right plural. That's at the end. In the sense of resurrection vis, the Kubra, or the greater, which is the rising of the people for reckoning. The Wusta, are the middle, which is the passing away of a nation, and the Sogra, or the minor, which is the death of the individual. The word is used in all these senses in the Holy Qur'an. An example of the last occurs in 6:31. They are indeed lost who give the lie to the meeting with Allah when the hour comes upon them all of a sudden, where the hour clearly stands for the death of the persons who gives the lie. As regards to the use of the word in the other two senses, it is very frequent, and the two significances are often interchangeable, either sense being applicable. Resurrection in this life. The different words which stand for resurrection are in some sense also applicable to this life. The rising of the dead is sometimes their spiritual resurrection, which was to be brought about by the preaching of the prophet. The day of decision also signifies the triumph of truth and the vanquishment of falsehood. The day of reckoning is equally the reckoning in this life, and so is the day of requital. The law of the requital of good and evil affects this life as much as the next, a complete manifestation taking place when the limitations of the body of clay are removed by death. Which thus becomes a starting point for a new and higher life. It is a law that works every moment and will not come into operations on a particular day. Even paradise and hell are spoken of as originating with this life. Hence God is repeatedly described as quick in reckoning, 202, 318, and 198. There's more, but meaning that his reckoning is working every moment. Every evil deed leaves its impress on the human mind. Nay, rather, what they did has become like rust upon their hearts, 83:14, so that the consequences follow as soon as a deed is done. Still more plainly, we have made every man's actions to cling to his neck, and we shall bring forth to him on the day of resurrection a book, which he will find wide open, 17:13. Thus an action leaves its effect upon man as soon as it is done, only it is not seen by the human eye, but will be palpably manifest in the form of a wide open book on the day of resurrection, for the veil which covers the eye now, so that it cannot see the finer things, shall then be removed. Certainly, thou wert heedless of it, but now we have removed from thee thy veil. So thy sight today is sharp, 50:22. The law of the requital of good and evil is thus working all the time. Only the consequences cannot be seen by the physical eye, but the finer senses granted at the resurrection will see them clearly on the day when hidden things are made manifest. 86:9, the balance. The balance is a new section of this introduction. The law of the requital of good and evil is a comprehensive one. He who has done an atom's weight of good shall see it, and he who has done an atom's weight of evil shall see it. 99:7-8. So every good deed bears fruit, and every evil deed bears an evil consequence, whether the doer is a Muslim or non-Muslim. But owing to the preponderance of mercy in divine nature, good brings tenfold fruit, even 700-fold, 661, 261, 28, 84, 42, 30, etc. A man is judged by the preponderance of good or evil in him, and it is in this connection that the setting up of a mizan or balance is spoken of. The words wazn and mizan are used in the Holy Qur'an in the connection, do not indicate the weighing with a pair of scales. It is in the wider sense of fulfilling the requirements of justice if they are used. For instance, 57:25 speaks of messengers being sent with the book, and the mizan, where the mizan clearly stands for rules of justice, are principles of equity, that men may conduct themselves with equity. Again, 55:7 speaks of mizan as being set up in nature.